Great.
This meeting is being recorded.
There, got it.
Got it. All right. We're good to go.
We have two more people joining now, Brad Wilkening and Craig Hutchinson. And those are all the people that are waiting so far. If there's anybody else that's coming in, I'll let you know, Bill.
Okay. We'll roll ahead. Kind of stumble through here. I forgot to grab the agenda stuff from home or the full packet, but I did print off the front page here. So we'll go to consent agenda from the previous meeting. Minutes on page 1. Just looking for a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, approved. New business, election of officers. I wish I should print out more pages. I forgot about all that. Let's see if I can do that here.
Someone else is joining us, Williams. I'll have to get their name when they join.
I'm going to print out a couple more pages here. Whoops, that's what I was afraid of. Yeah, this is Bill. Okay, sounds
Who
good.
just joined us, Williams?
Be there as soon as I can. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So as far as election officers, I have no issue continuing in my current role, but if someone else feels strongly that they would like someone else or they would like to do it themselves, please speak up. You aren't going to hurt my feelings one single bit.
Yeah.
I move that we leave them the way they are. You as chair and I'm the vice chair and Tark's the secretary.
I got no issues with that unless, some of these other folks would like to be more involved.
Oh, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay, it needs to be a motion, I guess.
I made that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passed. Okay, next thing, meeting schedule. As far as I'm concerned, it can stay the way it is. It works well for me, but if there's some conflicts, we can put our heads together and come up with something that works for everyone.
Works for me too.
Works for me.
Okay.
Okay, well, that was easy. We don't need a motion?
We don't need a motion if we're not changing it.
All right, cool. All right, okay, I got all kinds of paper now. All right, let me catch up. Variance request to be the next thing under new business, which is, I guess, primarily why we're here. Page 6. I did print out the worksheet that Tarek that you sent out via email. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I can give that a read unless there's prior discussion, that needs to take place. It, in my opinion, it feels a bit like a rubber stamp situation, but if there's anything that someone would like to discuss or has concerns, speak up, please.
Well, shouldn't they maybe tell us what their plan is, what they're doing?
Oh,
besides
sure.
what was, yeah, just kind of give us a verbal update. Brandon or somebody?
Sure. Yeah, Brandon, do you want to go or do you want me to?
Jamie, why don't you give the overview? You guys put the variance request together, so you're a little bit more familiar with it.
Sure. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So let me know if there's questions after I wrap up. But roughly, we are looking to add on to the Painesville Hospital. We're going to be building new inpatient rooms, 14 total. Which takes it down from 18 licensed beds right now. We would also be building new prep recovery space that we call the universal platform that would support both the emergency department overflow as well as surgery department. And we are also planning for a new entrance lobby area. One of the main challenges on campus is wayfinding and between many different existing entrances. Our challenge is that the existing north side of the building is in non-compliance as far back as 1969, and partly due to the address being assigned to First Street, and we feel that we're meeting the rest of the intent of the ordinances with our setbacks that really are more of a functional side yard setback rather than a front yard setback. And in order to, or what that gets us is that we're able to kind of connect with some existing corridors and bring those inpatient rooms up to current size standards, and also accommodate the entrance and helipad relocation to the south of where that inpatient wing would be.
And the way I noted it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially, if we called the new entrance the front, then and the side, then it would meet the side setbacks. Am I missing?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I agree. Yeah. So we've tried to be cognizant of that, and both the east side currently conforms to a front yard setback, which is where the clinic entrances are, and we also feel that the west side with the new work also complies with a front yard setback. So we are being very conservative on both those other frontages onto the street around campus to try and work through that. And knowing that there's not really any patient or public interaction on that north side, it feels like it's appropriate setback of, I think we're 12 total feet, Craig, correct me if I'm wrong.
11 something is what I read.
Okay, there we go. Yep, sorry, I didn't remember the inches.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just that's the way I see it myself, is that essentially, if we called it your side, which it actually will be, other than the mailing address, you wouldn't even need a variance. But at this point, because your mailing address dictates that is the front and not the side, you do. Am I understanding correctly?
Bill, this is
Yeah.
Bill. I agree. And when I looked at this, in granting a variance, it's allowed to set conditions on the grant. And if I understand what the representative of the hospital district is saying, is that if we were to say for future purposes that the Washburn Avenue side of the building was the front and Stearns was the back, that they'd be able to comply with the setback requirements. And that makes sense to me. It's an unusual situation because they don't really have a neighbor within the block. So what is considered the front isn't as important as it is when you have 5 houses or 5 commercial businesses in a row on a block. It's an oddball situation. And I don't know how that street got to be their mailing address, but in conversation, that's my suggestion, is that the condition of the grant of variance be that for future purposes, the CentraCare will consider one of the other streets to be their front and will abide by those setbacks, and the other to be their rear and abide by those setbacks. They already meet them on the 2 sides from Highway 55 and First Street as the side setbacks. So to me, that makes logical sense.
And I would agree with that, Bill, except that if we said Stearns Avenue was their front, do we run into issues then with the helipad proposal, or am I not seeing the paperwork correctly?
I don't know that. That's sort of my question for the hospital people. I don't know that there's going to be any above ground structure over there. But that's the question, is are we just setting ourselves up for the need for a variance in the future by doing that, or are we going to be okay? That's I guess the question I have. I would like to not need to revisit this issue again in the future and say, oh, well, we switched the how we refer to the sides, but now we need a variance anyway. That would be kind of counterproductive.
To speak to whether there's structure at the helipad, it really will be paving, which we don't think would be considered a structure in the building code. So within that, we need to have a clear area, and I feel like the safety area that's required for that operation by FAA and MnDOT means that we shouldn't have any obstructions within that 25-foot. Brandon, I don't know if you have any thoughts on whether that could be limiting, or if you have any concerns about that for the long range needs of the hospital.
You know, for me, as long as it's essentially a paved area and there's nothing above ground, I don't think it would be a problem. It's basically a parking lot, and we don't have setbacks for, I mean, we do have maybe some little setback from the road for a parking, but it's not anything significant.
Bill, I would agree. This is Jennifer on the zoning side, that helipad would not be considered a structure. It would be considered, like asphalt or pavement.
This is Brandon. I think the only question that I have for future, I don't see the footprint of the building changing in the future. Our intention is to repurpose the existing nursing home space for hospital use once Fortitude is granted their approval from MDH to construct their new nursing home. The one, I guess, area for maybe consideration is on that First Street Avenue is where we have that MRI trailer. We're currently in the process of working to get that MRI moved interior to the building. The current MRI that we have is getting close to the end of its useful life, so we'll be replacing that in the next year or two. And the intention is that we would move that interior to the building, most likely where our old hospital pharmacy was. Then the question kind of remains, how would that area potentially be used? And as you may be aware, there was a kind of a permanent structure that was placed out there to connect that trailer to the existing hospital space. And I think in the future we would like to be able, because that is it's a heated and a nice structure, we would like to be able to have like the nuclear med truck or any of the other outreach temporary things that show up, be able to access there. So I don't know if that, Bill, if that speaks to your concern about future variance needs or whatever. I'm not sure. And if that, I don't think it applies to what we're asking for in this request, but it's just kind of more future visioning about what we would expect might be happening.
That's on the
with needs there. Pardon?
That's on the First Street side, correct?
That's on the First Street side, yeah. If you've ever been on the back side of that MRI trailer, it's essentially butted up to a permanent structure that was added when the MRI trailer was brought on site permanently.
I mean, I don't know what the setback of that permanent structure is from First Street.
That I don't know the permanent structure, but the MRI trailer is within the city right of way.
Yeah,
so
and
it would really be pushing.
Yeah, and we did an agreement regarding the MRI trailer that space, the agreement basically said if we ever did road work, that would have to go, but otherwise it could stay, and we'd try to work with the hospital district was the gist of the agreement, but I don't know about the structure.
You know, the structure, I mean, it is a permanent structure. It's not a temporary, you know, transitional space. It's concrete and block structure.
Yep,
But
Brandon,
what
I
setback in that-
can. Hi, everybody. I'm Craig Hutchison. I'm an architect with HGA. I work with Jenny and been working with Brandon and the rest of the hospital. I have, I'm able to take a measurement right now. That trailer itself, I think Jennifer alluded to, yeah, that is existing currently. Half of it is actually within the public right of way, but that trailer can be moved. The permanent structure itself is something like almost 7 feet setback from the property line. So it's existing non-conforming. It'd also be existing non-conforming if that was the side setback, because I believe that's the 10 foot.
Right.
For a side setback. So the permanent structure itself on that, for the MRI on First Street, that would protrude about 3 feet or so into the side setback.
So that's already there. So we're not really talking about that today, but it's just something
Correct.
to be talked.
Yep.
Right. I just wanted to bring it forward. You were kind of asking about future plans, and that's the only thing that I would envision that could be an issue in the future.
You know, and I can understand Bill's concern about future variance requirements and needs. You know, in my opinion, and I'm just one person, but in my opinion, unless the hospital's interested in actually changing their address to reflect the front of the building, I personally would rather just proceed with approving this variance as written without any verbiage otherwise. I don't know. That's my opinion. Any other discussion or comments from board members?
No, I think I kind of agree with you, Bill. It's, at this point, they're already not in the right spots.
Yeah, it gets pretty complicated if we put some
Yeah.
verbiage in there requiring it's their front, but it's really not their mailing address. And, you know, the reality is, you know, when they expand 25 years from now, none of us will have to worry about it anyway. Even Bill Spooner will be retired by then. Is there any other, help me out here, Tarek. Do we just do the worksheet and then a motion? Is that how we're looking for?
From what I understand, yes, and Jennifer can confirm otherwise if I missed something.
Yes, you are exactly right, Bill and Tarek. You want to work through that work, and then at the end, do your vote.
Okay. One more opportunity for anybody to comment. Otherwise, I will read the report and recommendation for the planning board for the record. All right. And I'll be asking for the folks on the board to approve via the multiple questions here at the end, just a verbal, and then I'll confirm that I received the verbal correctly at the end. Whereas the city administrator has received from Centricare Health Painesville a variance application to allow the expansion and to increase an existing non-conformity of the hospital and related structure in an area zone C2 highway commercial. And whereas Centricare Health is the owner of the property located at 200 West First Street, Painesville. Whereas the property is more particularly described as tax parcel. Yeah, I'm not going to read it. The proposed improvement to the above premises would vary from the requirements of the zoning ordinance in that the front of the property is defined in Chapter 36 of the city code as the north side of the property abutting First Street. The required front setback is 25 feet. The existing setback of improvements abutting First Street are non-conforming, with the existing structure being set back 16 feet 9 inches from the road right away. The proposed expansion of the facility would cause the setback to decrease at various points along the north end of the property abutting on First Street, with the setback ranging from 11 feet in some areas, 13 feet 9 inches, 14 feet 3 inches, and 14 feet 9 inches in various areas along the property line. Therefore, the property owner is requesting a variance of up to 14 feet from the required setback from First Street, allowing a front setback of 11 feet in some areas and varying to 13 feet 9, 14 feet 3, and 14 feet 9 in other areas, shown on the plan submitted. Okay, so whereas the planning board believes that strict enforcement of the zoning ordinance in this instance would impose an undue hardship, all those agree?
Yes.
Yes.
An undue hardship is, whereas the planning board believes that the landowner's difficulty requiring a variance for this property is due to circumstances unique to this property and is not caused by the landowners, agree?
Agreed.
Yes.
Whereas the planning board finds that the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality or yeah. All those agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Whereas the planning board finds that the variance, if granted, will be in harmony with the general purpose of the intent of the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan. Agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Therefore, the planning board recommends that the request for variance be granted. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. I think we got all the agrees we needed there. And then Jennifer, do we need a motion to help me out, Jennifer?
Yeah, I would make that a motion that says, I make a motion to approve the planning board report and recommendation.
And I will make that motion to approve the planning board report and recommendation.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that passes. Thank you, folks from the hospital, for joining us on that.
Thank you.
We will just move to informational if there is any. I think Brad is out to the fire.
Yes, Brad is out on the fire. Just to give you a little heads up, Brad and I have been trying to close out as many 19 and 20 permits as possible. One round of letters have gone out to some of the permit holders to either get an update on their project so that we can grant them an extension or to get those inspections done. Another round of letters is scheduled to go out probably next week on some that were done in the last 6 months of the year, as well as some of the 2020 permits. We have a fair amount of permit holders that were put on, in their minds, were put on hold. The project was because of cost and or simply supplies due to the COVID pandemic. So we have extended a lot of them through June of 30th of 22 to get through the winter, and hopefully things will settle down. So that's kind of where we are with the building, open building permits. We are keeping up on them. We are not letting them slide. And then going into the zoning ordinance. So Bill and I have gone through the entire zoning ordinance. We have made revisions to chapter 36. Those revisions were sent to Brad, Ron, Tark, and Belinda, interior staff, to review. That process has been complete. Then our mayor, Sean Ranke, wanted to take a look at some of the language. So he has met with Tarek, I, and Bill on some of the language. We did not get through the entire ordinance. We got through page 66 of the ordinance before the holidays. And we have not been able to gather to finish that up. And then the next phase is going to be to get input from the planning board and from the council. And I know at one point the council has had a desire to meet jointly and discuss that chapter 36. So that is going to be coming down the pipe, hopefully sooner than later. That is one thing that is on my high priority list to cross off my to-do list. So that's kind of where that is. And then the next meeting is scheduled for February 22nd. That is also a Tuesday due to the holiday, but I do not have anything coming forward for that meeting right this minute.
Jennifer, on the zoning ordinance revisions, will we get like a redlined comparison copy? I mean, will we be able to see what was there and what it changed to, or all we gonna get is the new proposal and we have to somehow decipher what changed?
You will get a new proposal due to the number of changes.
Would you be able to, I mean, are we talking, what are we talking? Hundreds of changes? Dozens?
Yeah, I mean, because there are about 100 pages, right, Jennifer?
So the ordinance itself is about 100 pages. There is some major revisions to the ordinance. Yes.
Certain sections, yeah.
100. Yeah. Yep.
Some
Will
sections
we have,
touched.
would we have access to the old and the new so we could do our own comparisons?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Okay. It's just hard to get something and approve it if I don't know what's changed. You can understand my
I
concern.
understand that.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end of our meeting, unless there's other input or anything I missed.
No, you are good.
All right, thanks, folks. We will adjourn the Zoom meeting. I gotta run. They got the electricity back on.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.